Welcome to the Tea Talk. Today we are focusing on supporting our fellow teachers and new teachers alike, and we're going to be focusing on, you know, business of yoga.
Yes, yeah, like the logistical stuff, which is sometimes uneasy for us as yoga teachers to really. We're in a service industry in a way, and so it's sometimes hard for us to tackle these questions, but it's necessary because we live in this world and we need to eat.
Yeah. Yes, I like, that's yummy.
Maybe pay rent.
Yeah.
So, yes. So
okay, so in this aspect of business of yoga, today, specifically right now, we are going to talk about what?
Yes, we're going to talk about how to increase your class size.
Oh.
So, I've worked as a manager in the business side of yoga studios for a long time, and a lot of times, you know, when you're in the management, you're looking at class numbers, and it feels like such an icky and personal thing to say, Margaret, why are you only getting 11 people in your class at 6 p.m.? As opposed to, well, Tony gets like 48. Yeah. And so there's this horrible sort of quantification of success, but it's a real thing, and so we thought we'd share maybe how we can help do that.
There's also it can be this chasm between the feeling of I'm genuinely using my heart and my authentic voice, and I can see that I'm being helpful, and the students that are coming are incredibly receptive, and it's very fulfilling. And then feeling this pressure, like how do I
have to fill my classes? I have to fill my classes.
Yes, yeah. So therefore, I can't be my authentic self because my authentic self, which could be a story.
Yes.
Could be. It is a story. I can't be my authentic self and fill this room.
How do I negotiate being a popular yoga teacher and being true to myself? What does that mean?
All of that layers.
Yeah.
You know, what I would say, I would just throw this off the bat, is ways to help students come to your class. This might be novel, is let them know that you have a class. Right?
Tell them.
Tell them. Invite them. Say, you know what? Do you have a website? Do you do any of the social media stuff? Say, hey, listen, this is my class schedule for this week. Yeah. Why don't you come aboard?
Yeah, right? And sometimes we have a hard time sharing that, especially if new teachers, you feel like, I don't want to hide. I don't want to tell you.
Yeah, I don't want to be obnoxious
I don't want to be salesy, or I just feel self-conscious about. There's a part of me that secretly doesn't want yoga students to come to my class because I'm scared of being seen in that space.
Yeah, she feels very vulnerable.
So I think there's an element of of exposure and allowing ourselves to step into the space of saying, I'm a yoga teacher, I have something to offer that's of value and worth, and I really want to share it with you. And to start, if you don't own that already, it's to own that. And it's not obnoxious, like it doesn't have to be every second word out of your mouth, but to share.
Yes, and what I would say is consider practicing that. And that might sound phony baloney, but whatever we repeat, we integrate. So, you know, practice telling everybody who you feel really comfortable with. Listen.
Your family.
Yes.
Your pets.
Right? And you can even say, I mean, we just did this the other day. I was like, you can just practice on me, right?
Yeah.
Practice that harder conversation on me and get it into your body. Yeah.
And I think there's the other element. We were just chatting about this, which is to create an authentic connection with your community. Because when students feel seen and connected to you as a teacher, that's when they want to come back to class. It's not about your fancy, crazy sequence. It's not about the crazy good playlist that you have, although these are all factors that express your authentic voice.
Yeah.
But like knowing your students' names.
Oh, for sure.
It seems like such a basic thing, right? But those personal connections are when students feel like this is a teacher that is seeing me, that I want to come back to, that I feel connected to. It's like the warmth of the human connection, I think.
Absolutely. So and there are ways to know your students' names. I mean, novel. Ask.
Ask.
What's your name? And there's those times where you've like, well, I've already asked once. Ask again.
I know.
To say, I'm very sorry because I feel very connected to you, which is true, right? We feel like sometimes we connect heart to heart, but then we're like, oh, I already feel this person's goodness, and I can't remember the name. Just ask again.
I've had to ask students like an embarrassing number of times.
Sure.
I have one student, like they have kind of unusual names, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, been coming to my class for years, but I have recently, and I've been teaching for how long? Recently,
150 years.
150
It's
years.
amazing.
I've recently decided that it's better for me to deal with the embarrassment of saying like, gosh, I'm sorry, and to express the sincerity of my desire to connect, than to just be like, hey, you.
Yeah.
And they actually, the students they're never offended. They're like, oh no, I don't expect you to remember my name. It's Karen or whatever.
Yes. And you know what I also do with that when I ask, and right, is it like to know how to spell it. So if you're like, oh, Christina, is that with a CH or a K? And then once I do that, then it integrates in me. That's one way.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So, and then you can have a little chuckle like, oh, Christina with a CH, you sound like you're from Pittsburgh. Hey, I'm from Pittsburgh, whatever. And then you start to remember.
And you start to develop those connections in your head. Yeah, I'm someone, if I write a name, I remember it. And just hearing it, like, you tell me your name right now, I will immediately forget it. I'll have to ask you again in like 3 seconds because I'm too busy looking at your face.
Mel.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, so other ways to build your class.
Other ways to build your class. Care about what you're teaching. Have it be integrated for yourself, meaning that it's truly what you feel passionate about today, right now. It's not something you think you should be teaching. So if it feels like something that you're like putting on like, this is really popular right now and I just saw it on my Facebook feed or whatever, and I'm going to teach that, right? And then you're like, oh, that didn't work or whatever. To just really stay with your truth.
Yes, and there will be fads that come and go.
For sure.
Oh, look, it's skateboard yoga. Amazing. But I think this is part of your continuing work to develop what they call your voice.
Yeah.
As a teacher, which is, and what I love what you said, it's like to speak to the chord in you that is passionate, because when you do that, if you're like, oh my God, I love the chakras. That like feels like.
It speaks to me. I understand it.
Speaks to me. Share that. And for you, I mean, it's different for everybody, and you don't have to reinvent everything. Like, you don't have to necessarily try to find your niche or distinguish yourself from everybody else at your studio by teaching something really. I'm going to teach the Upanishads because no one else is teaching that. Whatever, like these kind of crazy things.
Well,
it's like, no.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that you're never going to reinvent.
You're never going to reinvent.
No, everything's been already.
So just be truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does it affect you today? I mean, just start there. And be genuine in that. Like, really, guys, I wanted to come up with something really awesome, but where I am today is feeling uninspired and disconnected. So, that inspires me to maybe we connect more to the ground today and feel how it might inspire us to. But it's like really where I am. I mean, I don't have to come in and be like, I'm not inspired, I hate you guys. Like, nothing like that, that's terrible. But you know what I'm saying. Like, start where you are, use what you have.
Use what you've got. Yes, that's truthful. Yeah, and this is why to invite our students to a place of authenticity, we must first be brave enough to show up authentically in ourselves. And to elevate. It's where you are and then elevate. It's not, I came in, I broke up with my boyfriend, we're going to do sad yoga. It's like I came in, there's heartbreak, how do we make a human connection?
What's a tool?
From this place?
Yeah, what's a tool that we can utilize to explore? Let's be curious about it.
That's such a huge shot. We'll save that for another talk because that's just ginormous.
Sure.
Building classes.
Is there anything else? I mean, there's probably a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I just want to support you to care but not care.
Yeah. Sometimes people will come to your class because of the time. They will come to your class because of the season. They will come to your class because of the geographic location to their home. People aren't able always to choose based on teacher first. It's like usually it's location and time. Guys, that comes before us as teachers so much. So it's to know the context of that and to build from a place of authenticity and not take the numbers too seriously.
Like a weekday 1 p.m. is going to be very different than a Saturday 9 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So play the long game in terms of building your community. It's not a short, fast fix. It's going to be like, we build classes. We have to leave classes on the schedule for at least 6 months to know how they're resonating. So please know, it's not like you do one thing and 2 weeks later your classes are full. We're looking long distance here. We're looking for sustainability.
Yeah, and the last thing I just want to add to that is that note when you're subbing out a lot. And, you know, definitely I've had, you know, I can say like I'm pointing at myself. Like if it's a class and you're subbing it out a lot, it's going to decline. And just know that. So if you're really interested in growing that class, show up consistently.
Amen.
Amen. Bye.